Mark Schlereth has a new Podcast One show. It's called The Stinkin' Truth. Debuted last Wednesday. Takes an in-depth look, NFL, sports, life through his eyes. Draws on his 12 years in the NFL, 15 years at the mothership. Taking you behind the curtain of what's really going on. Mark Schlereth, the three-time Super Bowl champ on loan from the mothership, joins us now. Where have you been, Mark?
Oh, man, I've been all over the place. Are you kidding me? I'm sitting in my home in Colorado right now and doing nothing but landscaping, Dan. It's been great. I've had a bunch of time off, so my yard is better than yours, and I'm not afraid to let you know about it.
Well, your hair is better than mine, too, so...
That's true. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That is true. I do have perfect TV hair. There's no question about it.
And you have 3 Super Bowl rings. What would you rather have, great hair or 3 Super Bowl rings?
Probably the rings, I guess. You know, the great. I mean, the hair comes and goes. You know, for most guys, you eventually lose. Although my dad is 75 years, he'll be 76 in August, and he still has a perfect head of hair.
Nice.
It's unbelievable. As a matter of fact, on his 75th birthday, my dad did 3 reps with 300 on the bench press. He's an absolute freak show. So, from a gene standpoint, I've dipped into the good end of the gene pool.
So it's 75. He's done a couple of reps of 300 pounds.
Yeah. He comes he'll come out for the summertime, you know, and he's like a perpetual motion machine. The guy never stops moving. So as soon as his feet hit the ground in the morning, he has a cup of coffee, and then he's outside working. He just never stops.
Can your dad outlift you, Mark?
What's that?
Can your dad outlift you?
No. I still am freakishly strong. But here's the crazy thing. Like, my dad will be in the front yard with his shirt off, and he's got a six-pack. And I'm like, Dad, put your shirt on for crying. I mean, it's just, you make us all look bad. You're 75 years old, walking around my front yard with a six-pack. Put your shirt on, you make us all look bad. Absolute freak show. I mean, he is a freak show.
I like that. How much can you bench right now?
Oh, shoot. I could, you know what? If I trained for 6 weeks, and now my shoulders kill me, but if I trained for 6 weeks, I could do over 400. I mean, I was doing reps the other day, easy. I could do 20, 25 reps at 225 still.
What's the most you ever saw somebody lift in an NFL weight room?
That would be me, Dan, and I did 525 for 3 reps.
Wow. What's the most somebody has done that you've heard of?
Oh, you know what? I heard that you want to talk about freaks, and this is why it always drives me crazy when people say the skilled position players. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, because I always looked at a guy like Larry Allen, who was reported being able to bench 700 pounds and then stand flat-footed and dunk a basketball at 335, 340 pounds. I mean, that's freak show athleticism. And I always said, I used to get in a fight with Michael Irvin when he worked at the mothership. And I said, dude, you know what? I can take this football down to the cafeteria, throw it to anybody in the cafeteria. They can catch it, throw it back to me. But there's not one guy in that cafeteria that can block me. I would open a can on everybody in there. And so there's a skill set that's involved playing the line of scrimmage that people don't get credit for, because you just see the brute power and the brute strength. But the technique is really what sets people apart from being NFL players to good NFL players to great NFL players. And that's just technique like anything else is technique, and it involves an incredible amount of skill. But Larry Allen was a guy that the report on him from a strength standpoint were just freakish. And watching film, because you always follow guys around as a player, and you'd watch that guy, and I used to just call him the landlord. The space, when he played guard, the space between center and tackle was his. You're just paying rent when he was playing. He would just absolutely intimidate people. One of the best I've ever seen, just at any position.
Okay,
one of the best players ever.
Is J.J. Watt, does he play a skilled position, given how athletic he is?
No question. He is bar none the best player in the NFL right now, and it's not close in my mind. And the thing that's incredible, now I got to play against guys like Reggie White and LT and Jerome Brown, some of the best that I've ever seen play. And one of the things about Reggie White, they would go up and down the line of scrimmage with Reggie White. And it's like one of the most intimidating things ever. You'd be in the huddle, and he usually played left tackle, so he's over the right tackle. And I played right guard at the time in Washington. And you'd break the huddle, ready to break, and you'd turn around, and all Reggie be lined up over you. Like, he drew straws, and you all of a sudden were the weak link, right? And you're like, oh, my Lord, what did I do to deserve this? And then it was just a battle. Like, I've got to stop this guy. Here's what I love about J.J. Watt in that comparison. And Reggie was phenomenal, but he was far better at left end playing over the right tackle than he was when he went up and down the line of scrimmage. I have never seen J.J. Watt's equal in the NFL going up and down the line of scrimmage. He can play left defensive end, left defensive tackle, right defensive tackle, right defensive end with equal with equal skill set, and he's a great pass rusher on either side. Even Warren Sapp, as good as Warren was, much better over the left guard from a pass rushing standpoint than he was when he flipped to the right side. And J.J. Watt, I've never seen anybody in all my years of studying it, watching it, and playing it that could just flip from position to position and dominate that position, even though it was on the opposite side of the field that he normally lines up on.
He's Mark Schlereth from the Mothership, three-time Super Bowl champ. His new Podcast One show, The Stinkin' Truth, debuted last Wednesday. What are the expectations on the Brady ruling, Mark?
I think they're still gonna. Suspend him. I don't know how many games. I think he's going to get some type of suspension. They may adhere to the 4 games. They may drop a game on that thing, but I fully expect the NFL to stand up. And this is more about the culture of cheating that has existed in the NFL, in my mind, since its inception. And you can go back to just about any team, and it's circumventing the rules. We didn't call it cheating. We call it circumventing the cap or circumventing the IR rules. And everybody was doing to some point, everybody was doing it, whether it was Downgate and all those type of things. Everybody was paying bounties. So to me, they've had this shift publicly where the NFL all of a sudden has been tarnished. That shield has been tarnished. They've made some bad decisions with Ray Rice and Bullygate and all these other things that have gone on that have basically given the NFL this black eye. And now they're trying to change the culture. And it's very much, I think it's very much like baseball. Baseball turned a blind eye to steroids forever. And not only did they allow it, but they actually encouraged it by paying guys huge contracts that they knew weren't the greatest baseball players, but they could hit home runs. Yeah. And all of a sudden, when they got called the carpet by Congress, now we act astonished, like, I can't believe this is going on in our game. Are you kidding me? You knew it was going on in your game, and you allowed it to happen. And I think the same thing in the NFL when it comes to circumventing the rules. They've known that everybody is circumventing the rules to some degree, and they've been tarnished here of late in the last 2 years. So now they're trying to make this cultural change, and this is, the sacrificial lamb, and who better than Tom Brady, who is one of the biggest faces of the game right now.
Yeah, but Mark, this isn't the big problem. This isn't the big problem. The big problem has been performance-enhancing drugs in the NFL. The NFL is as guilty as baseball is. We just never cared. There were no records that were hallowed that we'd say, oh, my God, I can't believe that guy is cheating to bring down that record of that player that I, admired.
Right. And the thing about the NFL, when they first implemented random testing back in 1989, I think the testing at that point were the state of the art. But the cheaters have absolutely overshadowed the testing. Right. I mean, it's been 2 steps ahead of the testing process. Mm-hmm. So, and you're right about. I mean, 4 weeks, you get suspended for 4 weeks, and everybody from a fan standpoint goes, oh, I can't wait till that guy gets back. But the bottom line is I think the NFL is essentially going, we've been tarnished to some degree because of the decisions we've made, and now we've got to try to clean up our league a little bit from a cultural standpoint. And it just takes time. It's going to be hard to do.
Would you be surprised if Elway let the air out of footballs or, had footballs that were groomed to his liking?
No. I wouldn't be surprised if anybody did it. I've worked those balls. I spent a lot of time injured during the course of my career. I mean, I played a lot of games, but I was injured all the time. I've spent time in the equipment room getting footballs prepared for games, and it's grueling. I mean, it's every ball that you prepare for a game, you can work 30, 40, 15 minutes getting that thing ready for the game.
Wait, what do you do?
Specific standard.
What do you do?
What's that?
What do you do? How do you prepare it?
First off, the balls come to you, and they've got this real waxy coating. So you basically, number one, you rub them down like for 15, 20 minutes with a wet rag, and then you use a light soapy solution with this coarse brush and you brush them down for 10, 15 minutes. Then you let them dry. Some of the kickers will put them will put the kicking balls in the dryer. They want them expanded as much as possible. But it really is a 30-minute process to get one game ball ready for a game. I mean, you work up a sweat trying to get it all done, and there's a lot that goes on there.
Did you ever let the air out of a football?
No. No, but I would if somebody asked me to.
If Elway said, hey, Stink, I need that taken down a little bit. It's they feel a little too full, too hard.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'd do that in a heartbeat. As a matter of fact, I used to try to on Thursdays in practice. You always do the last play or the last thing you do in practice on Thursdays. You have a live 2-minute drill, and I used to take a collection every week. Just a collection plate of guys. If Elway would throw an interception on the first play, because that would end the 2-minute drill period, and then we could go in. And occasionally, he would do it for me, which is nice.
Are you still upset that Elway never put his hands on your rear end?
Well, you don't know that. You're just talking about game
Yes,
time.
that's true.
Yeah, game
on the
time.
field.
What happened in the locker room stays in the locker room.
Hence the name Stink. Great to have you back on, and good luck with the podcast, The Stinkin' Truth. Thank you,
brother. I appreciate it. Always good to hear your voice, man.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Mark Schlereth from the Mothership.